Alright, hopefully we've got, doesn't get more down home homemade than okay. So I'm gonna start by yes, we're gonna talk about data science. So what is the White House? The White House is an idea. Now, yes, there is a physical house in Washington, D.C. that we call the White House. But we can all agree, and this is kind of the point of the IP that's related to Belief ID, person, place, thing, or experience. The White House is not just a house. The White House is an idea. We have lots and lots of ideas about what that house is. That house has an identity that is greater than the individuals who have occupied that house. That's important to understand because likewise, part of how I got into this whole conversation was separating out the creator of a work from the identity of a work. So in the case of, so the White House is one example. Another example would be the associations. So here's a web. It's a piece of tulle, typically used in like tutus, bridal, you know. But let's say that this represents the net, you know. Here is a bunch of ideas, a bunch of points. If we want to call them value sets, fine. We could call them likes. But we recognize this as a form. This is a form. And this exists within this dynamic universe. So let's say this is our set of ideas about the White House or governance, right? So that's existing within an environmental area. And it has a form. It has a set of ideas that are going to change and morph as the environmental factors. So here, I'm interacting on it, the environmental factors, right? I'm pushing it this way. I'm manipulating those factors. But there are other occasions when I'm not. So it's going to react to these factors. Okay. Well, this is actually happening all the time. So I'm intervening and I'm guiding that now. This organism could perceive that as a threat or as guidance. So these are our ideas about governance. Look how its shape has shifted. Does that mean that it's unstable? No, not at all. It's still the same piece of fabric. It's just how we perceived it changed. How it moved changed. But it as an entity did not change. Not until I go in and do something to it, which is yet another option, right? Now, in my diagram that I'm going to upload today, I'm putting in also, so this is governance. This is where my mind has been. Here's my marketing background. I've got experience with branding. I've got experience with developing projects for business clients. I'm going to put that in there. I, like you, have a bunch of different ideas about spirituality, about philosophy, about what is right and what is wrong, what is just and unjust, what is true and untrue, what is gracious, what is loving, what is kind. We all have a framework of ideas that came from all sorts of different places. I'm going to toss that into the mix. And I can continue doing this, right? I think we've got the illustration. So here are a bunch of other things, right? So I've got ideas, I've got thoughts about what is aesthetically pleasing with art. I've got these ideas about technology. I've got ideas about homemaking, about using the home as a metaphor for, like the start menu, the desktop, using the home as a metaphor for developing standards, tech standards, which relate to this governance thing, right? So here I'm going to start to see patterns. Now look, I've got this overlay. This is my personal profile, right? This is my wayfinder. Where these things start to intersect is where my form starts to take shape. My wayfinder view on the world. So right here. Now, what we need to do, though, in terms of our education and our moral compass, just understanding that this is how form begins to manifest, right? And the more that I look at that, and I was developing these spin paintings, I'm going to start to see this form becomes more stable, the more layers that it has. And that can be either a good thing or a bad thing. If this can support something, look, it's very stable. It's like a nice little island. But it could be strangling something as well. Down here, it needs to get up and come up for air. So, the idea with the Ava report is that we're going to start to document what these belief systems are and start to curate them and put them into. So this is us intentionally interacting with our content. Just find this to be sustaining, believable, beautiful, the intersection of these ideas. Now let's look. Are we ready? This is where the security stuff comes in. What happens? This system is encouraging this energy. No, it's not threatening. This is either a threat or a premonition. Because I'm making that not a threat, that's just proof. And this system has become disconnected. So is it irrelevant? Has the system like this is no longer relevant to this? Or does it need to be gently guided? Now this system is going to feel either, depending on how gentle you are, that it's being lovingly guided back into the fold, or it's going to view this as a threat. And that's up to us. That's why compassion systems versus sort of this no pain, no gain mentality that some of us have been brought up with, it's actually much gentler and can cultivate beautiful forms. But we can only be gentle when we're aware of this. And we can interact and make beautiful forms before catastrophe strikes. And we can choose mindfulness. It's good work. And look, with the exception